Welcome to RC Video Magazine's Volume 6, 1986. In this, our second tape for this year, we will be taking you to the 4th Annual Tropical Fun Fly in Costa Rica. A report on scale at the Nats. Part 2, how to fly helicopters with Ed Nakasone. We've got more large scale from the QSAA. The Byron Originals Fun Fly in Ida Grove, Iowa. And we go back to 1932 to look at some vintage flying. RC Video Magazine honored an invitation this year to the 4th Annual Tropical Fun Fly in Costa Rica, a small democratic country located between Panama and Nicaragua in Central America. We were fortunate enough to spend an entire week with our hosts, the Aero Modelissimo Costa Rica, the only RC club in that country. The club has a beautiful 300-foot runway and shelter house at the Ciudad Hacienda Los Reyes Country Club, just outside of the city of San Jose. We found ourselves amongst a talented group of modelers from all over the United States, Central America, and even as far away as Germany. The Tropical Fun Fly annually has attracted thousands of Costa Rican spectators. The participants in the Fun Fly spent several days touring the country and tuning up their planes for the show on Sunday. A wide variety of aircraft were represented.
Parfoil is called the windbag. It's brought in from Europe. It was originally designed in Europe. The principle of it is the wind inflates the bag, creates an airfoil, and as the windbag moves forward, it flies. And it's a very simple type situation. It's a novelty. It's something that people will sure like it.
Is it easy to fly?
It's very easy to fly, as you will see. I'm sure you'll take some pictures of it. And it's a very, very easy to fly airplane.
Who's it distributed by here in the United States?
Is this the company that brings it in? The product's called Texon. They introduce it in here, and it's distributed by Pan American International in Miami, Florida.
I say we've got a good bit of wind here today, maybe 10 to 15 miles an hour. Do you think that's too much wind to fly the parafoil?
No, it'll fly. It's probably helpful because I'll keep that wing, that bag inflated.
It's gonna go pretty fast downwind, isn't it?
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Definitely will.
Okay. What's it powered with?
This particular one is powered by OS Max 50 FSR, which is a little bit of overpower. It will fly with a 45.
Aside from enjoying the flying at the airfield, we had the opportunity to take a few days and enjoy the lush tropical countryside of Costa Rica. The primary economic base of the nation is agriculture, with coffee as the leading export. Here are some of the coffee plantations that dot the countryside. All of the coffee is hand-picked, with one worker able to pick 30 to 40 pounds of beans per day. While on the bus tour provided by our host, we stopped in at an ox cart factory, providing us with a glimpse of their craftsmanship, unchanged for centuries.
Okay, we're talking with Dennis Hunt. Dennis, how did you end up coming to Costa Rica?
Well, it's a very, very belated invitation from Julio Pastoro. We talked about it a couple of years ago when I first came to America from Zimbabwe, and he invited me down here, and he extended the invitation again this year, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a tremendous place, beautiful country.
Dennis produces, or he's from Zimbabwe Model Products, is that correct?
Zimbabwe Model Products, that's right. We're not new in the business, you know. Zimbabwe Model Products started first producing kits nearly 20 years ago, but we've just arrived in America now, marketing our line here.
He's brought some beautiful models here. Maybe you could tell us a little bit what you have with us.
Well, I'm showing here three of our new models. The very latest model we have is the Chipmunk, of course. It's a very nice pattern airplane. It really is a super flying model. And it looks good. We've also brought down the Gator Flea. What we decided was we needed some airplanes perhaps that were better known. Some of the names of the airplanes that we produce are not known to the American modeling public. So we made arrangements to produce in our almost ready to fly format, you know, the pre-assembled fuselages and foam wings, veneered and that sort of thing, some American designs. Like the Gator Flea. The Gator Flea is an old Southern RC airplane, and we've made arrangements to produce that. And I've got the Witch, of course, which is our, you know, is a fun thing, and it just flies great.
Dennis was telling me earlier a story about how to catch a witch. Maybe you could tell us.
Of course, I was prompted to tell you that story because the witch attacked me when I was being assisted by Don Lowe, and I made the mistake of running into the witch. There's a set way to catch a witch, and that is that you wait until the witch is just past you, and then you run in from the side and pluck it out of the air. So And I hope we'll be able to show you that too just now when we have Dave Robinson helping us. And he's athletic. That he can reach in there and grab it.
Les brindan la brujería de esta tarde.
Okay, this is the group, the Lufthansa from Germany. Where's that located?
Germany is located in Europe.
I know. Where's the group?
The group is from Frankfurt.
Okay.
Frankfurt, and we belong to Lufthansa, German Airlines. And it's the first time that we're here in Costa Rica to this fun flight. And we enjoy the session very much.
Okay, so you're all employees of Lufthansa?
Yes, we are all employees of Lufthansa.
We've been watching a lot of your shuttle aircraft flying these gliders, pulling gliders. I'd like to learn a little bit more how you worked this out, how this plane was developed.
That's a different question. First, if we start with gliders, we try to shut the gliders up with a rubber, with a catapult, you see? And then sometimes you don't get the real altitude. And so we get the idea to put the glider on the top of a shuttle aircraft to get higher altitude and find out also better areas where are good winds. You see, it's a prototype, it's no kit. It's developed by Reinhold Schramme. The aircraft is nearly flying 15 years, he told me. Has up to 500 shuttles now, Reinhold? Yeah, he told 500 shuttles.
You've hoisted 500 gliders airborne with this. Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. Can we find out a little bit about how it works?
It's a very simple system. You see, we have a hookup on a normal aircraft. And then you fix a glider with two rubbers on the right and on the left wing. May I demonstrate it to you?
Please. They have a servo mounted inside, and when the servo releases a pin, there's a fork. And this fork is pulled up on two sets of horns that are held in place by rubber bands. In other words, when the servo releases it, the rubber bands just release the plane. The glider, because of its extra lift, pulls away from the power plane. It works flawlessly. We're speaking with David Robertson from California Model Imports and KG Helicopters, and he's brought a Hughes 300, which we're watching fly. Dave, tell us a little bit about this craft.
Well, what we have is a gasoline-powered, weed-eater-powered helicopter. It uses a 1.3 cubic inch gasoline engine.
Okay. Does that mean that it's an engine from a weed eater?
It actually is, with some modifications, yes.
Okay.
But the basic mechanics is extremely strong. There's no plastic in the drivetrain anywhere to like stripping gears and this kind of thing. So it makes an ideal trainer and a good sport ship.
What else about the helicopter can you tell us about?
The entire mechanics is an I-beam construction, so that in normal crashing situations, the only thing you're really going to hurt are the peripheral things, such as blades, tail boom, rotor blades, and the canopy.
Great. Well, thank you, Dave. That's California Model Imports. Okay, we're talking with somebody who doesn't even need an introduction, I don't think, Don Lowe. Don, how did you happen to come to Costa Rica?
Well, Julio Pastora invited me to come down last year, and we came down for the Fun Fly, and in August we came down to a special Carl Goldberg Memorial event they had. And the country's so beautiful, they invited us to come back, so here we are again.
Okay, I notice you have a gyrocopter here. This is a cute little unit. Can you tell us about that?
Well, this strange animal is imported from England. It's a Wallace semi-scale copy, and it's marketed by Texon, Pan American Hobbies in Miami, Florida. And I got interested in this thing because I've done a little bit of full-scale autogyro flying, and they're kind of strange animals, and I wanted to see if this thing is anything like it. Yeah, and it's a little strange, but it's not all that difficult to fly.
Don, how does this Fun Fly compare to other ones you've been to?
I would say the ones that I've attended, and I've been to several in different parts of the world, and of course in the U.S., it's about second in terms of size, size, of course, referring to the crowd. They have plenty of flyers and aircraft here, and part of the problem, of course, is getting it all in.
Eric brought the string box, the beautiful string box that we saw. He had his initial flight and had a little bit of trouble. Could you tell us what happened?
On this age, the wind come up on lifting up on stalling, and I had no more chance for this slowly flying airplane to do something. I tried, there was nothing what to do. I can repair.
Good, it can be rebuilt. We're hoping that it could be.
Rebuild it, yes. 75% is okay. There's a lot of turbulence on this corner there, and they're lifting up in the moment, and then the speed go down when I stall.
Okay. All right. Well, we hope to see it again someday in one piece.
I think next year. Okay. Or in the States somewhere. Huh?
Yeah.
The fourth annual Tropical Fun Fly had something to offer everyone. The still active Irazu volcano and state park is only a short trip in the cool mountains from San Jose. In Costa Rica, model airplane flying is a very popular spectator sport. Thousands turned out for an afternoon of flying. The media coverage was impressive, with the local press on hand as well as live multi-camera TV coverage from a local station. Texon Precision Products and many other manufacturers donated great models as prizes for the participants and top finishers. We met and talked with a group from Panama. There were 7 flyers, assorted friends, and several model clubs represented. They made the 17-hour journey with 16 airplanes via the Pan American Highway just to be present at the event. It seems no one wanted to pass up the opportunity to meet with some of the well-known pilots visiting their part of the world. The organizer of the event, Julio Pastora, seen here with his laser, is also the president of the Aereo Modulissimo Costa Rica Club. He sincerely extends his appreciation to those attending the Fun Fly and wishes a warm welcome to anyone that wants to visit this fascinating and friendly country. There is no better way to spend a vacation than flying and touring the beautiful country of Costa Rica.
Somebody comes down here, they're hooked, and they keep returning.
That seems to be the trend, and we certainly enjoy that.
Great. Well, we certainly enjoyed our stay here. We're looking forward to coming back next year to cover this event for as long as it goes on, I hope.
Well, I hope you come every month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julio.
Hazel Sigg's Clipped Wing Cub, America's all-time favorite plane. Build this beautiful model of a truly outstanding airplane. This highly aerobatic plane is really a joy to fly. It is as smooth, stable, and responsive as the big one, and basic aerobatic maneuvers such as loops, rolls, spins, and snaps are easy. The Morrissey Bravo, copied at quarter scale in the quality Sig tradition. Everyone who has flown this Bravo remarks about the easygoing and smooth flying characteristics. The model is stable, forgiving, and can give a good account of itself in aerobatics. It'll get you into faster company without scaring you to death in the process. The new Cadet Senior, known as the hands-off trainer, flies along so slowly and gently that just about anyone can handle it. Even experts get a big charge out of the unique qualities of the Cadet Senior. For those of you who already have the fine Sig products, take the video tour of Sig and see what makes Sig unique in the model industry.
This is our third and final report on the 1985 Nats. We are now preparing for the 1986 Nats in Lake Charles, Louisiana. If you don't already know it, this is the 50th anniversary of the Nats. The dates are July 24th through August 2nd, 1986. A half-century of competing and cheering model aviation makes this a very special Nats.
This is a 1941 Waco VKS-7F. It's one of 30 aircraft that were originally built for the Army Air Corps for cross-country flight training. The aircraft is equipped with flaps in the lower surface of the top wing. The full-size airplane is located in Findlay, Ohio, and is owned by Mr. Vincent Mariani, who has taken 4 EAA Best of Show awards with his aircraft. This is a scratch-built model from my own plans and patterns, including the cowl and wheel pants. It is built of balsa, ply, has an OS-90 4-cycle engine swinging a 16.5 propeller. It has a wingspan of 74.6 inches. The scale is 2.25 inches to the foot. It is covered with coverall, painted with a mixture of Sig and Randolph dopes. It has 1,295 actual flying inches of wing area. It weighs 13.5 pounds. Took somewhere more than 1,000 hours to construct.
Let me get your name.
I'm Charlie Nelson, and I'm a representative of the Central Mass RC Modelers, a club here in eastern Massachusetts, of which I'm the president. Although this aircraft is hand-drawn by me, when I had my plans almost done in my mail one day, Norman Rosenstock, who knows I like Wacos, had sent me a set of plans in this same scale, 2 1/4 inches to the foot. And if anyone needs plans for a very similar aircraft, contact Norm Rosenstock in Long Island, New York.
This is a Mariner. It's called a PBM-3, used in World War II by Navy pilots for, they would rescue pilots from the oceans and also survey for submarine patrol.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the construction of this aircraft.
Okay, this is entirely out of styrofoam, and the hull is covered with fiberglass, and the wings are sheeted with balsa over foam. It's literally carved out of styrofoam covered with fiberglass, the body and the tails.
What type of power plants do you have here?
Well, I finally found out with Super Tiger 75 Schnurls to do an adequate job for it, and as a booster for the last couple of years, out of the last 11, I'm using rockets for boosters, which adds to a little bit more touch to the takeoff climb.
What's your name?
John Nicolacci. Nine channels, using 9 servos, and it has Fowler flaps, freeze ailerons, JATO control, and I have 2 servos, one for both engines and another servo for taxiing, which will increase the speed of one engine and decrease the other for taxiing, just like the real one. It had no rudder, no sub-rudder on it.
Okay, we're talking with Henry Hafke, and we're going to ask him a little bit about his GB here. Henry, why don't you give us a little bit of background on your relationship with this aircraft?
All right. I was born here in Springfield and grew up in Chicopee Falls, just a short distance from the Springfield airport back in the early 1930s. And I used to go over the airport and watch these airplanes fly in the evening. I was too young, really, to appreciate what was going on. To me, they were just airplanes. They had wings and a propeller, and they flew and so forth. But I have always been interested in racing planes, and about 12 years ago I decided to build a model of one of the GBs, which there was very little information on model-wise. And the first model that I built turned out to be the best flying model I had ever built, and it was actually a model of the aircraft that flew out of here this morning, the real Model Y. And I got to know some of the Granville people and kept building GBs. That's just about all I've done for the last 10 years. This one here is one of the most well-known of the GBs. It was the racer that Jimmy Doolittle won the 1932 Thompson Trophy race with, and also set a world speed record in this aircraft. And it's just gotten a terrible reputation over the years because of the bad writings that writers have done, which is completely unfounded. And I'm getting ready to write a book on them, which is going to tell for the first time the true story of these airplanes and the men that built them. And it's really not that difficult to fly. It's a little tricky on the ground, but it flies in the air. It flies as well as any other big airplane does. It's scratch built. I designed this about 4.5 years ago and built it. And we've been flying it regularly at contests and just out to the field for fun every once in a while. And it flies very well. It weighs 15 pounds and is powered by a Weber 90. It's all balsa and little plywood construction. And I have the plans available for it, and I've also done the plans in quarter scale, which is a little bigger than this. Previously, I had built a smaller one with a 56-inch wingspan, and at that wingspan, the airplane was just too small to be practical. You couldn't build it without having too heavy a wing loading. This one here, at 15 pounds, the wing loading figures out to be around 35 ounces, which is very acceptable for a big airplane.
What is it powered with?
It's powered with a Weber 91 speed, and I fly it on a rev-up 16 4.5 propeller. And I might also say that the Weber has a Martin Industries carburetor on it, which is the carburetor that really makes the Weber run.
This beautiful GBY model was built by Ken Flagler. This model has one slight difference from the models competing this year at the Nats. It's flown from the inside instead of by radio. We caught up with Ken moments before he climbed in the incredibly detailed cockpit and flew off into the clear New England sunrise.
Well, Ken, I can't tell you how thrilled we are that you managed to fly all the way out here 7 hours just to show this thing off at the Nats. And it's a real kick to have the airplane that everybody's wearing on their shirts and hats and jackets come flying in. So you had quite a trip out here, and you spent 6 years building this airplane.
7.5 years building it, and it was a thrill for us to come out here. We decided to make it an adventure. When you fly an airplane like this, it's an adventure. We landed 3 times for gas. With 7 hours and 15 minutes, we fly out of Kenosha Airport in Wisconsin. And we've had a great trip, and we've had just a super time out here. The airplane's
well, we're thrilled to have you. You've been an AMA member for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I joined AMA in '43, and flew my first Nats in '46 at Wichita, so this is not new to me. I've flown other Nats. But
well, we can sure see a lot of model building experience in the job you did on this airplane. You told me before that you like to show this thing off to modelers almost as much as to people who own their own airplanes.
Yeah, that's true. More so, actually, the modelers appreciate it more because they look at it and they can see the innards of it and when they look at it. And a lot of power pilots, which are appreciative of what it looks like on the outside, don't really understand what they're looking at on the inside. So the modelers are more appreciative of it, and it's more fun to have it here than, well, pardon the expression, Oshkosh.
Here is Bob Fiorenzi standing way out on a field, holding his arm in the air. Thanks, Bob. We just couldn't resist getting this shot.
We're going to talk to Bob and his incredible F4. Bob, tell us a little bit about your aircraft.
Okay, it's a Tom Cook kit, Jet Model Products. It's powered by two KMB 7.5s, that's 45 cubic inches. It has the Tom Cook retracts, Craft radio, and it's finished with acrylic lacquer, car paint.
What fan units did you use in this?
It's the Turbax 1 with the, like I said, the KMB 7.5.
Are they stock 7.5s?
No, they're modified by Tom. They have OS7 DV carburetors, and the pumps are off the back, and they have, I believe, they're 6.5 back plates. And there's a few extra head shims under the head for less compression, and we're running 25% SIG fuel.
I see. Let's go over some more of the functions that you have on this jet.
Okay, we have two servos for the throttles. We have one servo for the steering. We have one servo for the aileron. One for the flying stab.
Bob, how long did it take to build this aircraft?
Okay, a few hours a night. We're talking about 6 months, and almost every night.
Oh, Bob, it's more than a scale aircraft. You fly it very scale. Is there some trick to that, making a plane look real in the sky, more than just building a scale aircraft?
Well, it's, I like to think it's all me. It's not. It's basically the design of the airplane and characteristics of the full scale. And it is a large platform of an airplane to fly. It's not a small airplane. And once it's trimmed properly, it just grooves along, and it's not hard to fly at all.
How did you do in the static score?
Okay, static we did 93, and the two flight scores that they used was 90.33 and 94.33.
That should put you in a real good standing then.
Yeah, I believe we're in first place right now.
In which category?
This would be expert sports scale.
This is a de Havilland 86B, and it's commonly known as the Express Airliner. Okay, it was built back in 1926. The original was built, and it was used between the wars as a long-distance passenger-carrying aircraft.
Okay, and this aircraft was scratch-built by you?
Yes, took whatever drawings I could find, which are kind of scarce, of the original, and drew up my own plans and built the model from scratch. I had in mind a Rapide originally, which is a twin-engined, smaller version of this aircraft, but a lot of others had already been built of the Rapide, and I thought, well, I'd try something unique. And then also, I built it for FAI competition, so I wanted to take advantage of the rules and get the maximum bonus points. And when I saw this airplane, I figured that's got to be the one.
Okay. Maybe you could point out some of the reasons why this is a better aircraft to build for FAI rules.
Well, in FAI rules, of course, the bonus points run as such. I have 4 engines, so that gives me 20% right off the bat. I have a biplane with undercamber, which gives me another 10%. That makes it 30%. And I have an additional 5% because it's a tail dragger. Okay. That's a total of 35%, and that's just about the most I can figure of any airplane you could choose.
Do you know how your score is holding up right now?
Well, as far as I know, I'm on top. I don't know the spread, but with the bonus points, it's going to be tough for the other fellows to catch me. And I think partially because of my model and some of the others that have been built along those new rules, they're probably going to be reverting back to a less generous bonus point system. So you'll see that the simpler models having a better chance, which they really should. Well, the power is 4 OS-20 RC plain bearing engines. And the only modifications I've made is to make them a radial mount. I've built my own mufflers so they'll fit inside the cowlings. And I've added an OS 4-cycle plug, which really helps the idle at low speed. And I've added a little nitro to the fuel. I'm running about 12% nitro.
Okay, anything else about the construction of this that you might want to tell us? What it's basically made out of?
Yeah, it's nothing too unique. It's basically a balsa framework structure with some pine in for stiffening. I've vacuum formed styrene nacelles and cowlings, and I've also covered the airplane in silk span paper and then used butyrate dope on that for the finish. The whole idea was to keep it really light because in the rules the maximum weight allowed is 6 kilograms, which is 13.2 pounds, so it had to be kept light to make a plane this large.
What is the weight?
The weight is 13.2 pounds because when I weighed in originally with the plane it was a little over, so I scratched a little weight out, a couple grams, and it's right dead on, maybe a couple under. That's about where I sit.
What's your name?
Steve Gray.
You're from?
Kitchener, Ontario.
Steve Gray won top honors in FAI for his de Havilland Rapid Express. Bob Fiorenzi won first place in expert class with his F4J ducted fan. In giant scale, Ramon Torres won first place for his Beechcraft T-34.
When we conclude the Nats here at Westover, we'll be packing up our equipment and shipping it down to Lake Charles, Louisiana, where the Nats will be next year at about this same time. That'll be a 50th anniversary of the Academy, and we hope to have the biggest Nats ever.
Avid hobbyists always have something up their sleeves. With Zap glues, any modeler can work magic. Slow Zap allows 30 to 40 seconds positioning time and produces very strong joints in hardwoods and plywoods. Flex Zap is the strongest adhesive made for the hobby industry, achieving maximum results without an accelerator. Zap, the total adhesive system, works like magic.
Welcome to Phase 2 of RC Video Magazine series on beginning helicopter. At this time, some of you out there may be wanting to throw rocks at me because you can't get into a basic hover. For you, I say keep practicing those exercises. It will come by eventually. For those of you who have maintained a steady hover, I congratulate you, but don't forget, keep your eye on the fuel bottle. It gets low very quickly. In this series, we will be covering 4 basic exercises. The first one being the horizontal 8, nose pointed into the wind. The horizontal 8, nose pointing into the direction of flight. The circle hover around the pilot, both left turn and right turn. Then I'm also introducing the nose-in hover at this time. Before we begin with, I'd like to answer several questions that were brought to me from the previous series. And that is, why did I go into a forward movement or left and right movement before trying to hover? I feel strongly at this point that for you to gain control of the aircraft is very important. Whereby if you go into a hover mode, you'll find that you are not really gaining control of the aircraft. That is, if it moves forward, you're pulling back to stop it. If it goes to the left, you're pulling to the right to stop it in that direction. In other words, you're behind the 8 ball all the way through. So go ahead and do those exercises, and you'll find that the hover exercises will be much easier from there. To help with the description on this exercises for today, I have my model aircraft which will demonstrate to you what we'll be accomplishing. As I indicated, the first exercise is a controlled movement exercise, which is the horizontal 8, nose pointing to the wind. What we basically will do is The pilot is approximately 5 to 8 feet in the back of the chopper. What we'll do, the wind is in this direction here. We'll get the aircraft into approximately a 2 to 3 feet hover. We'll move forward and start moving the aircraft to the left and to the back, doing a circle to the left. We'll come up, forward, stop, land, take a breather, get up into a hover. Now we'll start moving to the right here. Come on back to the center, stop, land, take a breather. Oh yeah, here we go. Steady hover, 2 to 3 feet. Okay, get it over your reference point. Now again, the idea is we'll go very slowly forward. Now to your left slightly. There you go, very slowly now. Come on back, make a nice little circle. Very slowly, very slowly. Nose into the wind. Give it a little right, give it a little right. Okay, let's go over back to our reference point. Okay, hover it, stop it, come down, let's take a break there, okay? Now we'll get it back up into a hover, continue forward, now slightly to your right, give it a little right here, okay, get it on back, keep it coming, nose into the wind, give it a little left, okay, again, get into it, stop it, land, take a breather, and we'll get back up to a hover, and this time, rather than stopping, we'll continue on with a basic figure 8, nose into the wind, just as I'm pointing out right now. Get it up in the hover, very slowly, now to your left, forward, very slowly, nose into the wind, up, coming back, slowly, slowly. This time as I come around my reference point, I will not stop. I will continue on with the figure 8. That's exactly what I want you to do. Continue in this exercise just as you see it now. Nose into the wind very slowly. Again, the purpose behind this is to get a good control touch feeling on the aircraft where you have total control. I want you to continue that exercise until you feel very comfortable with it. For the horizontal 8, nose pointing to the direction of flight, we'll do basically get you, again, same thing, 5 to 8 feet in front of the pilot, get to a 2 to 3 foot hover, move to the right, 5 feet away, stop, move to the left, nose into the wind, move to the left, approximately 5 foot away, stop. Basically what we're trying to do is get you to point the aircraft in this direction here and flying, coming back and doing a figure 8. At the same time, having the aircraft 90 degrees in front of the pilot. 2 to 3 feet hover. Remember, we started this exercise last time, going to the right, keep the nose into the wind, stop at about approximately 5 to 8 feet. Now let's go to the left. Keep practicing the exercise until you stabilize, very slow and easy. Okay, stop it. Now as we go, we're going to go back to the right. Don't stop over your reference point. Gradually put in a little tail rotor control, facing the nose into the wind here. Push it forward. Okay, stop it. Turn the nose into the wind. Let's go to the left again. Okay, gradually induce some. The idea is let the aircraft run sideways so 90 degrees to you. We'll stop it. Point the nose into the wind. Okay, gradually now point the nose into the direction of flight, slow and easy. Okay. Stop it if necessary. Point the nose into the wind. Go to your left. Gradually induce forward flight. Now at this point we want to just continuously go around without stopping. Point the nose into the wind. And notice what we're trying to accomplish here. I'm pointing the nose into the direction of wind and continuously doing a figure 8. Slow and easy. Aircraft is flying 90 degrees to you. Bring it around. Okay, continue to slow figure 8. And that's what you're actually trying to accomplish here. You get tired, let's get back to a basic hover. Point the nose into the wind. Stop over our reference point again. For the circle around the pilot, what we'll essentially do, the pilot is up here, again approximately 5 to 8 feet. Get the aircraft into a 2 to 3 feet hover. Now the pilot himself will turn to the left at this time. Then gradually turning the aircraft to the left, moving it forward, and making a basic circle around him, a left-hand circle. Okay, stopping it, pointing into the wind again, Now the pilot this time turns to the right. Aircraft points to the right. He makes a right-hand turn around him. Do the same thing, coming around, stopping it, facing the aircraft into the wind, and land. Okay, we want to do this very slowly, as I indicated, 2 to 3 feet hover. Now I want you to gradually turn your body, then simultaneously, slowly, turn the aircraft to your left and go forward just slowly. This is the left circle hover, very slowly. Again, control touch, but the attempt here is to get the aircraft pointing 90 degrees to you or sideways. Keep going forward very slowly. Keep doing this aircraft very slowly. Okay, very slowly. As you come over to your reference point, stop, turn it into the wind. Now at this stage, come down and rest if necessary. In my case, I have to because I got the cord tangled around me. So let's go back to the right to untangle the cord. Get it up into a hover, turn your body to the right, turn the aircraft to your right, and start the slow hover. Okay, give a little tail rotor, forward movement, little tail. Remember, it's easier to go to your left than it is to your right, but you got to keep a constant balance around you. Keep it a small circle, slow and easy, very slow and easy. Again, it's coordination, and everything is driven from that. As you get the reference, keep it going around and back into the wind. Once you finish that, come to a landing. Okay, again, the point is continue doing this exercise, not only the left side, which is easier, but also force yourself to go around to the right. And as far as the nose-in hover, which everybody hates to do, basically, pilot, again, is about approximately 5 feet in the back. Get the aircraft in a solid hover. If you have not reached a solid hover state, please do not attempt this exercise. You need to get in a solid hover. The pilot will walk around the side of the aircraft. If he feels uncomfortable, he can walk back, but ultimately he'll walk in the side, in the front, and generally in the front of the aircraft with the nose pointed to the pilot. Then he'll do that both for the left and the right, then land the aircraft. Don't forget, you must accomplish a good solid hover before you do this exercise. Now from here, as I indicate, I'm going to start from the left, but work both sides. Gradually start walking up to the aircraft, looking into the direction of flight. Keep the aircraft going. From this point, after this, turn sideways to the helicopter. If you get disoriented, turn into the direction of wind, walk backwards again. Keep working it in this configuration until you come up to the 45-degree point. At this point, there's a mental transition that goes through flying this nose-in hover here. You get disoriented, walk sideways, or continue on. And this is where I call my transition point, right here. It's a very mental process, but don't worry about it until you come in to the basic nose-in hover in this direction here. Get into trouble, land the helicopter. So again, the main point, get into a hover, solid hover, stand with a position that you're comfortable with, and again, solid hover again, gradually, keep it into that hover, try to look into it if you have to. Remember I said the wind's building up here, but keep the winds going. And this is your 90-degree changeover point. And that's exactly how to get into a basic nose-in hover here. So keep practicing this, and you should not be afraid because everything will be taking place for our next phase. Speaking of our next phase, let me give you a quick preview of what's going to be taking place. Let's get the aircraft into a hover. Now you should be good at this. Then gradually what we're going to do is start our forward flight. Very slow and easy, right into the wind. We'll turn. Turn downwind. There we go. We are flying away. Okay, remember your simple figure eight that you've been practicing? That's what we'll be doing. Get in the aircraft and gradually coming back for a regular landing. Very slow and easy. Very slow and easy. So you can see why it's very important. So until the next time, I want to say keep practicing those exercises, and we'll get good things coming about to work on for the next phase. Until then, don't forget to break a blade.
McDaniel RC presents the revolutionary Knife Starter, pocket-sized power for starting your standard glow engines. The Knife Starter is safe and convenient. The unique headlock keeps the Knife Starter on the plug, not in the propeller. And you can get 50 starts from one 16-hour charge. Now McDaniel offers an improved model of the Knife Starter. The addition of a soldered reinforcing ring at the tip helps prevent stripping out the headlock, providing you with a longer-lasting tool. Remember, the Knife Starter is not a wrench, and if used as one, will strip out the headlock. For more information on the Knife Starter and other McDaniel RC products, see your local RC dealer.
We're back again under the clear skies of Las Vegas for the Quarter Scale Association of America's annual fly-in. In our last issue, we talked to George Vogelsang with his Wright Flyer, and George Harlan described his British Mosquito. In this program, we have 5 more modelers who took time to share with us their quarter scale achievements.
Okay, we're speaking with Noel Hess and his beautiful Goshawk, I believe. Is that what this is?
Curtiss Goshawk with the number F-11C2. It's a Navy fighter plane of the 1932-34 issue. And this was a model of a plane that flew off the carrier Saratoga. It's quarter scale, 8-foot wingspan, weighs about 40 pounds, has a Kawasaki 3.15 engine. It's covered with Seconite and painted with Beauty-Rate dope and acrylic lacquer. Has 8 flights on it to date. Today's been the best one for them.
Is this something from your own drawings, or did you purchase this from someone else?
No, I purchased commercial drawings, and then it's scratch built from those. I modified them, of course. You never build one, of course, it's somebody else's design exactly. You use their basic design and then modify it to your needs. So it's a little bit different than some of them.
Who's your test pilot?
The man that flies it for me is named Noel Johnson from Layton, Utah, and he's a flight engineer for United. And he's a very good pilot. He's a man I'd trust with anything I could build.
Well, it sure is a beautiful aircraft. What else do you have on the drawing board? Anything new coming along?
Well, I've started one for next year that's called a Curtiss Condor. It's a biplane, transport biplane with twin engines and retractable landing gear. One that was used about the same time as this one by American Airlines back east for transport. I got started on it, but I could see I couldn't finish it this year, so I put it on the hold and I'll work on it this winter.
Well, we'll surely be looking forward to that one next year.
Try and have it here.
Thanks a lot, Noel.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Nick Rivaldo.
Okay, Nick. What aircraft is this?
This is the OV-10 Bronco A. It's a reconnaissance aircraft made by North American Rockwell.
Okay. Where did you get the idea to do a model of this one?
2 years ago, we were flying out here, and one of these things came over the field. I thought it was a flying boxcar, and it looked pretty interesting, so one of the other fellows said, no, it's a Bronco, I'll send you all the literature, and he did, and it was so ugly and so neat that I thought I'd go ahead and be different and build it.
Okay, tell us a little bit about how you put it together, what it's made out of, some engines, information, and radios.
Sure. Basically, it's foam and balsa wood. There's no spruce used in it. It's got plywood doublers. The wings, the flying feathers are all foam core with balsa sheeted, fiberglass, and acrylic enamel. The engines are powered, Sachs 3.7. I originally had 2.3 Cobras, but I felt that wasn't enough power. So I put these 2 engines in. It's been flying great. It's got 2 complete different radio systems in the airplane, flying from one transmitter. If one system fails, hopefully I've got about a 30% chance of saving the airplane. It weighs about 55 pounds. I've got about 1,500 hours in it, 2 years off and on. It took me about 3 or 4 months just to decide how I was going to build it.
Did you use original drawings?
Yes, the friend of mine, he sent me a pilot's manual. So then I took the outline of the airplane, it had the dimensions, and I went ahead and blew them up on the wall in sections, and that's where I started.
Very good. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing it fly. Okay, what's your name?
Robert Shannon.
Shannon, okay, tell us a little bit about your Cub.
Well, it's a Balsa USA kit. I built it approximately 6.5 years ago, and it's been out here the last 6 years. I just recently redone it so it looked nice. I tried to get for a scale contest over in Riverside, and I did pretty good over there, considering my...
Okay, tell us about the teddy bear.
Well, the teddy bear, what would happen, I used to be a garbage hauler, and one morning I went up to pick a can up to dump it into the truck, and when it did, the bear fell out and hit me and scared the daylights out of me. And of course I just built the Cub, and I figured, ha-ha, that go good with my Cub. So I put the Cub in. It's been in every flight since. It's in other words, I put it in about the 6th flight of the airplane. It's been in ever since, and it's got well over 600 flights on it now today.
Great. Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing that thing fly again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. This is Mel Barber. We spoke with him last year. He brought the beautiful DC-3. This year he brought the Sikorsky. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Good morning. Yes, the Sikorsky S-39CS is the aircraft that Martin Ozer Johnson toured Africa in 1932. I was looking for a subject for Vegas, something that could break down into a small parcel for transport from South Africa. And I saw the Elephant, the S-38, which was a very big, ugly 2-engine airplane. But it was the ideal subject to break down for transportation. And I was collecting material for this aircraft when somebody told me that Sikorsky had built a smaller version of the airplane and that they specifically built one called the Spirit of Africa for the Johnsons. And I started searching for information, and I eventually got hold of Paul Armat of Historical Aviation Album, who sent me all the particulars. The aircraft's called the Spirit of Africa, and I thought it was very, very ideal for the type of aircraft that I could build and bring to Vegas for the quarter-scale do. I got hold of Paul Armat's book, and I planned the airplane so that I could strip it. All the brake joints are as per production joints on the full-size airplane. I made transparencies of the 3 views D4 size in the book, blew it up against a wall to the scale I wanted. The aircraft is 1/5 scale. It worked out to ideal proportions, giving me a wingspan of 10'6". The construction of the airplane is as per the full size. Every rib is in its same position. The hinges are scale. If you notice the covering on the wing here, most people ask me, why didn't I just put a full sheet here? But the full size had the gaps as per the model. And all the center section, the wing panels, the construction of the fuselage, everything is scale. The fuselage is basically all ply. All the ribs are ply, and it's covered with coverite. The leading edge sheeting is also ply, as per the original prototype. The aircraft has flown on a Quadra, but not yet on the 9-cylinder radial. I brought the 9-cylinder, the aircraft to Vegas 2 years ago with a 9-cylinder, but could not get it going.
Was this aircraft, it looks like an exploration type of vehicle. It almost looks like a motorboat with a wing strapped onto it.
When Martin Ozer Johnson toured Africa on the photographic exhibition, they thought they would make a color scheme that would relate to the tribesmen. And this is a giraffe color scheme, because most of the natives in 1932 had never seen a white person, never mind an aeroplane. And they would run for miles if they saw the aeroplane, because it was something foreign to them. And this is why the Johnsons painted in this giraffe color scheme, to give them something to associate it with, so that it wasn't all fear. And they actually captivated the tribes. And when the aircraft used to come overhead, and the Africans used to see it, they used to flock to the lakes to come and meet the Johnsons. It was specially built as a camera plane by Sikorsky for the Johnsons, and the color scheme was done by the Sikorsky factory. The reason why I've persevered with this motor is that the scale of the original engine that was fitted to Martin Ozer Johnson's aircraft worked out to 9 1/8 inches, and the scale on this one is exactly 9 1/8 inches. The motor fitted to the Johnson's aeroplane was Pratt & Whitney single wasp number 2. This engine was loaned to Howard Hughes for racing attempts, and he actually broke some world record racing records with it. When it was returned to Pratt & Whitney, the Johnsons approached Pratt & Whitney and actually purchased the motor from Pratt & Whitney for $2,000 less than what I paid for this motor.
Okay, we're speaking with Harry Apoyan. Is that correct? Okay. Definitely an unusual looking aircraft. I want to find a little bit about it.
Well, this airplane was designed in 1916 and used in World War I as a non-combat airplane because the British government outlawed monoplanes. They said they're not safe. So it was relegated to peripheral type of duties, reconnaissance and observation type of thing, training and so on. And I'm not sure, but I think this was a training airplane. The reason they put the stripes on it is to make it more visible to the people that were in training. So it is a real airplane. It did have these brown and white stripes, but and it flew very nice. It was pretty well advanced for its time.
What is it?
Bristol M1C, made by the Bristol Aircraft Company. They made a lot of fighter airplanes, and sometimes they call it the Bristol Bullet because of the shape of the fuselage, but it is the Bristol monoplane. That's a common designation for it, M1C.
Where did you get the inspiration for this project?
The airplane was built, I built it quite a few years ago, like 5 or 6, and it got worn out to the point where I couldn't even fly it. I recovered it, and just on a lark, I thought, well, let's make it something different. Rather than put the Paisley pattern on it, I thought it'd be nice to make it look a little more realistic. But there is a picture of the airplane in the profile publication booklet, and with a color artist rendition. So it's a very striking. Even to me, it's striking because I couldn't believe it until I finished it and I saw what it was like. Very, very nice, and it flies very nice. Very gentle flying airplane. So.
What's it powered with?
It has a Super Target 2500 in it. The plane weighs 11.5 pounds, and it's a 7-foot wingspan, which is 1/4 size. It has 9 square foot of wing area, so the wing loading is very light. In fact, it's any kind of mild winds, it starts flying all over the sky. It just, of course, it's unstable, and but nevertheless, I really like it. It's a joy to fly.
Okay. I noticed you built a lot of airplanes with big spinners. Is that some reason for that?
It just sort of, that happened. The Fokker D8 has a big cowling on it, which required a mold, just like this spinner. The Polish Fighter has a big spinner, but I had that turned on with aluminum. However, it's just coincidental. It had no.
Well, I saw you with a trophy this morning. Tell me about that.
Oh, the trophy was, it was a complete surprise. It's a Waldo Pepper Award. It's like an Oscar for the nice guys, and I'm one of the nice guys. No, what was surprising was he read off, and now this fellow started in such and such a year, and he's been building airplanes, and he was in the Air Force, and he kept going on, an instructor in the Air Force, and I kept listening more attentively until he said, he's the president of Chapter 3, and I said, well, geez, I'm the president of Chapter 3. So it was a pleasant surprise, and I really appreciate it. It's something that means a lot more than just winning a trophy. It's something to cherish because they don't give very many out, and you have to be somebody special.
Well, Harry's definitely somebody special.
Oh, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. That's very nice. I like the hobby. I have a lot of friends, and one reason you come out here, of course, is socialize and meet people and meet your old friends that you haven't seen for a year. And so it is an activity more than just flying, more than just showing off. It's a congenial type of meeting where you talk to your friends and wave your hand, tell lies to each other like like we say. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Harry, and look forward to seeing you again next year.
Here it is, the Challenger, an Aristocraft high-tech digital proportional radio control system. One of the best values on the market. The Challenger transmitter is designed for ease of operation with a unique mar-resistant brushed gold finish. Some of the features on the transmitter are battery check button, RF output meter, elevator dual rate switch, and an elevator trim-down mixing knob. As usually found in higher-priced transmitters, the Challenger's open gimbal design gives you stick tension and travel adjustments, and all pin connectors are of high-quality construction. There is an easy-access rear panel for servo reversing, mixing control adjustments, and dual-rate travel adjustments. Change frequencies in a snap with pop-in modules. And the Challenger 620 system includes high-torque indirect drive servos. The Challenger system complies with the 1991 narrowband standards. You can find one of the best values on the market at your local hobby shop.
Each year, more people discover the greatest fun fly going, the Byron Originals Fun Fly in Ida Grove, Iowa. Here in Byron Godberson's backyard, we found 346 pilots, 450 giant-scale airplanes, and around 12,000 spectators a day. People come from all over the United States and Canada to participate in this fantastic aviation event. What better place to show off your latest giant-scale creation? The facilities are the finest available. 600 feet of smooth runway, or if you prefer, lots of wide open grass. Now, if you are considering making the worthwhile journey to Ida Grove, here's all you need. A monoplane with a wingspan of 80 inches or more, a biplane with a wingspan of 60 inches minimum, or a quarter scale of any size. Camping facilities are available, with hot showers no less. This is an event where you can't help but make new friends, and the whole family will enjoy the great show the Byron Original staff puts on. In Volume 4 of RC Video Magazine, we had the World War II reenactment. In this article, we are going to take a look at a cross-section of airplanes that show up and talk to some of the talented pilots at the flight line.
My name is Ken Kinchy from Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about your aircraft here?
Yeah, it's a Byron Originals Beechcraft, Staggerwing Beechcraft. It has a fiberglass fuselage, foam wings that are covered with the Conocoat, and the cowling and the fuselage are painted with K&B Super Epoxy.
What's it powered with?
It's powered with a Quadro 35, a 2 cubic inch engine. Gasoline, oil mix, chainsaw engine is what it is. Got a retractable landing gear system. The main gear retracts, and also the tail wheel retracts. It has landing flaps, and of course ailerons and elevator and rudder.
Did you use the Byron retract system?
Yes, I did, yeah.
And that's an air-pressured retract system.
Right, that's a air pressure. There's a pressure tank inside of the fuselage that takes about, it'll take up to about 180 pounds, but I put in around 100 pounds of pressure.
How does it fly?
Flies very well. It's a stable airplane. Initially, I had the balance wrong on it. It was a little bit nose heavy, so I had a problem getting the tail down on landing, and I couldn't use the landing flaps at that point, but I've balanced it out since then, and it flies very well, with the exception of, like the real aircraft, you bring them in too slow, the elevator gets washed out by the wings, and you don't get an effective elevator, so it's difficult to get the tail down. Then, if you land it at a fairly good rate of speed, lands on the main gear, and then you can get the tail down with no problems.
The spectators participated in a large drawing, and the winner won a ride in Hazel Sig's Cub.
It's a lucky individual today to win the ride in the little clipped-wing Cub. Tom Toberezzi is going to help Charlie there. He's going to get him strapped in there. We want him strapped in pretty good if we're going to give him a loop or two. Here, watch this guy, man. We'll see what happens here.
Oh, we didn't tie that door up. How did you?
Well, this is a nice treat, you know. We decided to just give away a ride, and Hazel donated her club, and it should work out very well. Okay. All right, Charlie, give him a good ride. Give him a loop or two or something. Hey, Tom, don't run off. I think we see a tail spring down there. You better get back there, check that airplane. Something isn't right.
Technical problem before takeoff. Some problem with the tail wheel. The pilot had to check.
Before you try to take off. Well, there's something wrong. That's all right. I think Julie went out of there, too. He's not very impressed with that ride already. We're still on the ground. Charlie, check that tail wheel. I saw a spring drop off there. Hey, what's going on there? Charlie, hang on, Tom, get him. Get that airplane. What happened? You know you're not supposed to leave an airplane running even if you got to check something. Now, wait a minute. Look up, Charlie. Charlie, get out of the way. Oh, no. Get out of there if you can. Look out, it's out of control. That man has stolen that airplane. Look out, sir. You can't fly an airplane. You didn't even want to go ride. Don't we have a silent or something we can play there? Let's call his attention to those security people down there. See if we can get him back. we can get those sheriff's people out there, we'll get him. Byron, don't you have that machine here you use in the air show? Can't you shoot him down? We'll shoot him down and get this thing on. Get on with the air show here. Here he comes again. Just keep that thing away from the people. You got to land out here. Charlie, see if you can wave him down. Watch him. Watch him down. As soon as we catch up with you, you're going to be in big trouble. Scotty, watch him. He's going to come by here again. I think he's figured out a little bit how to fly that thing, and he's liable to get you when he comes by. And Tommy, if you wreck that car, we're both in trouble. Can you handle it, Charlie? You know what the guy said when he got in the airplane? He said, go ahead and do a loop. I'll be drinking beer this morning. Oh, well, that explains the whole thing now. You've been drinking beer since 8 o'clock this morning. You decided to go to an airship. Look out! Look out! Yeah, get him now. Whoa, crazy you, buddy. Crazy you. Let's get those machine guns straight. Hazel will never let us use that airplane again.
If you haven't already guessed, this is not a spectator, but a professional aerobatic pilot, Gene Soucy, flying the famous Crazy Cub act.
Boy, he is really out of control. That's it, Tommy, get him.
We're talking with Dan Parsons. Dan, can you tell us a little bit about this aircraft?
This is the de Havilland Hornet, which came out near the end of World War II, did not get into World War II combat. It was designed by de Havilland and was a carry-on design past the Mosquito. I call the Hornet the daughter of Mosquito. It was the very high-performance single-engine fighter designed to go for long range against the Japanese, hence the two engines, and it had extremely long range. Of course, it never got into combat, so they didn't use it for that, but it was very similar to the Mosquito in construction. It had a plywood, balsa plywood sandwich for the fuselage. The top of the wing was plywood, but the bottom was metal. That's where it differed from the Mosquito. So it was, essentially, it has about the same wing plan form as Mosquito and very similar to it. In fact, a lot of people think it's a Mosquito because the Hornet's really not a very well-known airplane. Well, anyway, it was the fastest piston prop fighter that ever went into production, 487 mile an hour on the straight and level at 20,000. It had a 5,000-foot rate of climb at sea level. I wrote to de Havilland in England. At that time, they were Hawker Siddeley had taken them over, and got factory drawings from them, and then drew up my own plans from their drawings, made my own retracts and pulled my own canopy, and I guess, like I kiddingly say, I did everything but plant the tree down in the balsa tree down in Honduras, you know. The model weighs 14 pounds. I'm using two OS 61 FSRs. I have my own muffler system and exhaust system on it that toned it down quite a bit. It was pretty loud when I had it just coming out, straight pipes coming out of the side of it. And let's see, it's balsa construction throughout, built-up wing, and covered, of course, with the 6/10-ounce cloth that I sell. And
I was just going to say, that's the glass that you distribute.
Yeah, the glass cloth, and I use epoxy and sand it down and paint it with auto acrylic lacquers.
Christian Eagle from Muscat, Texas. Is that Clark back out there with that smoke? Now he is going after the tall grass. Called the Yardbird. First appeared on Channel 9 City a few years ago. Been on Good Morning America. It's got an 1861. Rick Oliver, one of our show team pilots, on the tracking back. All around model aviation, not like I am. Fly the Yardbird. Look at there. It's upside down. Boy, I'll tell you. Weighs 6 3/4 pounds. I'll keep them up if you want to send them across. By golly, I do believe it is a snapper. And that's one way to keep the mosquitoes down. You know, you get these guys with the smoke systems. They help us out. Who's flying that thing anyway? You have any idea? Oh, well.
Speaking with Ralph Brown, and we're going to find out about his beautiful GB here.
Well, the GB is a 1932 racer that was this particular airplane, so far as the history that I know, it was flown in Omaha, Nebraska in the Women's Air Races division by a pilot by the name of Maud Tate. She was 23 years old at the time, and she won first place. I believe she died at the age of 81 3 or 4 years ago, according to Henry Hafke's information, who is the designer of the airplane. And I secured the plans from him in about 1980, had them sitting around for a couple of years, and then built the airplane, scratch built. It's all balsa wood. I monocoat all my airplanes, and it has a 3.5 quadra engine in it. I've flown it about 7 times, 1 time today, and hopefully I get to fly it tomorrow.
Japan. That's the right way.
What are you doing here?
I'm trying to start a motor.
Why?
Well, I've got an airplane to crash.
Okay, we'll be waiting for that.
Good news from Byron Originals. Aviation Expo 87. 5 full days of the world's most unique aviation event. August 12th through 16th.
When you demand high-quality performance, use BK Products Blue Flame Fuels. BK Original Blue Flame Fuel is a blend of castor and synthetic oils with detergent and additives excellent for use in your model engine. BK Premium Gold Fuel contains space-age synthetic oils blended to give you the edge in performance, keeping 4 strokes running clean and smooth. The next time you're in Denver, visit the BK Hobby Center. Ask your local hobby dealer for BK Blue Flame Fuels.
In Volume 7, we will be taking you to the four-stroke rally in Riverside, California, the George Myers Memorial Fly-In near Denver, Colorado, where a beautiful solid silver trophy was given for craftsmanship. Volume 7 is well underway and looking great. We have some surprises for the Sport Flyer, so don't miss our next issue.